so something, but I feel like I would definitely reached out to Grace. I don't know. It's hard.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm like, really with my kids, my friends, childcare, and whatever. So we'll figure it out. But right, we were trying to get teacher.
It's 5:05. I'm calling this meeting to order the first line item is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second. The third line item, the third line item is the consent of the agenda from September 27, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second. The next line item, we have announcement. I want to welcome everybody to the Health and Awareness Committee. I wanted just to give up a couple updates what we've been working on. So Dr. Robertson Sana, she won't be able to make it today because she's not feeling well. And so we did some school visit at the 360 high school. The idea was to go to meet with students, talking to them, making sure that they join our committee. And also, I was very happy that the students over there, they want to work with our subcommittee to make sure they create their own mental health club. So one of the things I was like, okay, so we can do it either next year in January, because I don't want to hold any school meeting in school. I don't want to hold the committee meeting in school until the board elections. The second, so we talked to the assistants principal, and we talked about some of the questions that we had, the scheduling problem that we have here in Providence. For example, we had students fighting in downtown Providence, and one of the problem was that because we had schools, high school and the middle school with students at the same time. So I'm very thankful for the superintendent team and the school department for very working trying to fix that. So we talked to the 360 high school, and because it's a school, they have two different schools in the building, and they thought that the students usually get out at different times, so they are not facing those problems. So I'm very also thankful for Ms. Hakim for sending availability. So we're gonna this month in December we're gonna continue to do more school visits to hear from school counselor, teachers, and principal, and to hear what's going on and how we can help. And then the next thing that we're gonna be working on our committee, Ms. Hakim, is also to address. I'm receiving an email regarding the recess and the last time for students. So we're supposed to have the meeting with the superintendent council because they had an emergency. So I'm gonna reschedule that meeting to make sure Ms. Hakim is present and to talk about the district to find out what's going on. And so I want to also thank Ms. Hakim for leadership. So we currently in our committee, we are working to send a letter to the governor and also the General Assembly leadership, basically to advocate for universal free meal. I don't know, Ms. Hakim, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Just exactly that. Thank you, Chairman. Just exactly that. We, in our working group with the nutritional and physical activity working group, we just had a quick little huddle before this meeting to talk about some developments. We are aware of, Warwick recently approving the free meals in their school district. We are aware from the Healthy Breakfast Seminar we attended last month that Vermont has also approved, as well as Massachusetts, free meals for all. And, we will be pushing for Rhode Island to be in that top 3 states in the regional area for this development that's very important for nutrition and balanced meals for our students to learn properly and stay focused and stay healthy. So it's very important to us. So thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. As everybody knows, we've been talking about the creation of the new subcommittee. So I'm gonna hold that as well until January, until we have the board elections. And also for this subcommittee, we talked about the creation of we're gonna oversee bullying, substance use, and also behavioral health, and also working with Jilly. So the Smart Clinic's gonna do a report with us in the week in the month of January. And what else? And yeah, I don't have any other updates. But so the next we have introduction from member of the Health and Awareness Committee. So I see new members and a new student joining us today. So if we can do a quick introduction so we know who's sitting next to you.
Okay, so Julie Lombardi, I'm the Executive Director of Student Support for the Providence School District.
OVPAP, Healthy Community Office, and Program Manager and Regional Policing Director. I am part of the Social Emotional Subcommittee.
I am Aaron Leonard. I'm with Sodexo for Providence Public Schools. We have a food service operation here, and the Director of Wellness for them. Basically, do the production, the procurement, and the menus for our food here for the students.
Okay, good evening. I'm Karen Wetherill. I'm Director of Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition.
Hi, I'm Lynn August. I'm from Neighborhood Health Plans, and I'm on what's the name of our subcommittee? Nutrition and Physical Activities.
Hello everyone, my name is Bright Osaje. I'm also here from Neighborhood Health Plan as well, and I'm also on the Nutrition and Physical Activity Subcommittee.
Hi, I'm Warren Heyman. I'm the organizing director for the Rhode Island School Recycling Project, and I'm on the same.
Hi, I'm Luzana Nava. I'm the Integrated Health Professional Learning Grant Coordinator for the Social Emotional Learning.
I'm Joanna Raymond. I'm here from the URI Community Nutrition Education Office, and I'm also on the Nutrition and Physical Activity Working Group. And one of my roles is to support the PE and health teams in the district with their nutrition curriculum and activities during phys ed as well.
I'm Isaac Reed. I'm a food corps service member here at Sodexo Providence.
My name is Kate Ginder. I'm a food corps service member, also serving with Sodexo and Providence.
Hi, I'm Tess Brown. I'm a medical student in Providence, and I'm on the Healthy Relationship Working Group.
Hi, I'm Annalise, also a medical student, and I'm a member of the Providence Alliance.
I'm Jack Presley. Everybody. I'm a parent of 2 PPSD students, and I'm on the Healthy Relationships Working Group. And I work at the med school and Hasbro, not representing those organizations, but that's my day job.
Hello, everyone. I'm Aaliyah. I'm the prevention coordinator at Day One, and I'm on the Healthy Relationships Subcommittee.
Hi, Shannon Gormley. I'm the social studies teacher lead at Central, but I teach mainly civics, and that's why we're here.
Hi, I'm Josiah Marston, and I'm a student at Central High School. Hi, I'm Marcella Bishop, and I'm also a student at Central High School.
And I'm Henry Pardo, also a student at Central High School.
Hi, I'm Tanya Gilbert. I am not a student at Central High School. I am a program manager for the Healthy Communities Office, and I'm on the Healthy Relationships Work Group.
Hi, I'm Simone Punchak. I'm from Placerville High School, and I'm a new member to the Healthy Relationships Subcommittee.
I'm Rosemary Riley Shamat. I'm the Associate Director for School Health and Extended Learning. I work in the Office of Student, Community, and Academic Supports at Rhode Island Department of Education. Sorry for the
I'm Andrea. I'm the School Board Policy Advisor.
Shiara, School Board Coordinator.
Tony Aiken, School Board Member.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody. And so next we have planning, and we're supposed to have a guest speaker today to talk about the benefit of physical activity, sport, and recreations. they were able to make it today. So I'm gonna make an amendment, and is there a motion to remove the line item from 5.1?
Motion.
A second. And also we have so we have a new students from Central High Schools, and they have been working to for the mental health awareness month next year. And I know they just came from schools, and some of them are gonna be leaving early. So I'm gonna be making a motion to move the line item 5.3 to 5.1. Is there a motion? A second. So we're gonna go, the next line item is 5.2, 5.2, mental health fair planning. And also, if we can have a student for Central, if you guys can explain you guys' project.
So we're gonna explain it all together. So I want to start this off by thanking everyone for letting us come in and taking the time for your agenda and allowing us to speak about the dream we have for this mental health fair. So last year it started off as a civics project to tell the community more about resources that are local to us. So we really wanted to create this to help students, but not just students, but help families who are either struggling with mental health issues or their child or family members are struggling. We feel like those students and families may not know as much as they need to about mental health just because of the stigma around mental health, which is like it's not really talked about with parents, or maybe you don't have anyone you're comfortable with to talk to about your mental health. And our hope is to create a fair where we'll have like different what do you call it? Vendors, yes, vendors. So we'll have different vendors. So we'll have a yoga station, maybe a breathing technique station, maybe guest speakers. So we can really like inform the community what it is to know about your mental health. And that's just like, I think it would be a really informative and fun way to get the message out there about how important mental health is. So I'll pass this on to Rancella.
Okay, so basically the goal is we want to expose resources to our families, to our PPD families. So that way when the fair, they go there and they're able to get like experience and like resources for how to cope with their mental health. So some ideas that we have is we envision, like you said, asking vendors to teach breathing techniques and like yoga exercises and like the importance of how your sleep impacts your mental health and stuff like that. So the reason why I say that is because last year, me and Ms. Gormley, we went to a Brown mental health day fair, which inspired us to do this. And they had people who talked about how sleep is very much a part of your mental health and how nutrition is also part of your mental health and a bunch of different things that we like didn't really think about. So we was thinking like that would be really cool to add into if we did our own mental health. And so basically in the middle of PCCA's gym, there will be actual yoga teachers and dancing and exercises and meditational teachers, and they will be showing the students like and the parents how to do these type of things at your house and how you can incorporate that into your everyday life. And so she's gonna talk about a little bit to make it more fun.
So we also envisioned a punch card or a sticker card where guests can go around and go to the tables and learn. And so you would get the stickers, and then at the end, once you collected 10 stickers, you could win a fun prize. We were hoping, like my teammates said, to have a DJ, food, and prizes, so it could be a little more fun and engaging for the people that do want to come and learn. So we just want to help the community.
And we're also aiming to do this during May, it being mental health awareness. So we're aiming to do it towards May, but we really just want to know how you guys can all help and make this happen for not just us, but our community. That's it.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm very proud of you. Like I promised, our committee, we're gonna use all the resources that we have to be able to help you and your project. For that, we're gonna create a new working group to help you with this mental health awareness month. So what we're gonna do is Julie gonna create a Google form and they're gonna send it to all committee. And if you are interested in joining this working group, and fill out the form, and we're gonna reach out to you. We're gonna start holding meetings in the Central High School, in the schools, and and work together and get that done. Yeah, and and the next we have the subcommittee working group. And so, last time we had our subcommittee break into groups, but we didn't have the time for the subcommittee to set up goals and share out. And so we have December and 1 month left until the new year. I want the subcommittee to set up goals, things that they want to achieve for the next years, and also some things they want to see change, and also come up with a deadline for these things. And maybe Julie wanna lead?
Yeah, so I also created a folder for Health and Wellness Committee and then subcommittee folders. So as you're working in your groups, there's an agenda, there's a blank template, so you can use that to work through as you're creating your goals for the year. Also, I did create a separate subcommittee, so if you want to fill it in with your chair, co-chair, and then the members of the committee, so we kind of have a running list of who's on each committee. If you could do that while you're also in a group. So just let me know if you did not get the folder. I can add you right on. I tried to get everyone that was on the invite, but I can go around to the group to see if you're in it. But it's a health and wellness school year 23-24. So you should have received it in your email. Yeah, so we can break up. Yep, we can break up into the 3 groups. So I know a lot of the nutrition was kind of working back there, so I imagine you guys are already over there. Maybe social, emotional in that corner, and then healthy relationships up front. Is that okay? And then we have maybe about 20 minutes or so, and then we'll check in. Is that okay? And then we have I graded 20. But I still put all the stuff in that same picture, but she was the owner of it, so I sent it to last Oh, yeah, that's why.
You've been on my list. I have to make an exhibit. Wendy, she was there when you came last time, Wendy Souza. Yes, she's gonna work on I think that's our goal. My laptop, yeah.
Maybe under the guise
I was having trouble connecting to
Thank you. You going in?
We have to get it out of committee. Somebody's spot for a minute.
It should be social emotional.
Like we all circle right here.
Right now, it's all focused on the governor, the session hasn't started yet.
Sorry, Greg.
To win. Oh, and health plan.
Yeah.
I'll grab that one. Very impressive. I'll share it here so everyone can.
I don't know.
So once the session is in, then yeah, you guys need to focus on
A young Providence person.
In those key positions, financial issues, therapists.
And we are just so.
But it was strange. It was her. And the last time she started off.
You were there last time.
She was there a lot of this. But we just started off by saying, I want you all to know, everything that you just find out is going to be held over. And I know everybody thinks that's the kiss of death, and I don't want you to think that is. That's procedurally what we're going to do.
Like that.
Yes, but he started off by saying that, he said, I just want you all to know, everything's going to be held.
Stood out to you, what you thought strong, might be the thing. I don't have really down to a place where we actually
They do like to hear from their constituents. Anyone from work?
Hi.
That's
Good, how are you?
where-
Okay, a little frazzled today.
Yes. Very young, was they're jockeying around with.
So one of like the biggest goals.
I can't do the 13th, I can't do the. No one said. I heard from several folks that they have never had, so the bill sponsor in the House. Everyone's been through it. I want to co-sponsor. Said never before has there been anything like this.
Oh, it just said.
Yes, but when it got to the leadership, they said, oh, just make it a little cheaper. Can you just cut it in half? So it's
We
just
had
making
met,
a case,
briefly
it's just making a
last night
strong
and reviewed
case
the
that our
previous
kids are worth
kind of
it,
strategy
families
of
are
the
worth
group.
it, and I
It was really
think schools
more
too,
than
because I just think
No,
it's
no,
such a
no,
burden.
it's just a Wednesday, yeah, I was thinking I had to simplify, but that's
And then
great.
review kind of a brief presentation of just
I would love to kind of.
breaking it down.
And I do think Aaron made
That's
such a
really
good
the
point
big
about
That's mental
people
health,
might
wellness.
think,
Yep,
oh,
so,
Providence is all set,
We can't.
we're working on
because they
those.
do offer
Um,
it, but they're not getting full
Maybe,
reimbursement.
um,
So I'm
young
begging you,
person
so
young
that's
person
not
is a co-chair.
coming in, can't do. Oh, and the other thing, I
And
just
they
wanna say,
have,
you guys
Bible.
even talking.
I mean, I can probably push it.
working on their
Sometimes we've heard
presentation
people
that they
say,
shared with you guys
oh,
last
the
time.
food's crap, so why do we want everyone to have it, right? They don't like it. Oh,
How it
food
impacts
was, they
their
also
mental
want
wellness
that.
overall.
We hear there's food there, and so.
Generally,
But what we're saying, that even that, we don't want to, it's only nutrition. We want the kids.
The only thing
but
I go.
these programs are very challenging.
I can help kind of know some of that.
That's
And
a
what
problem
this will
for
do,
me,
what we
but
learn,
I don't want
that's
to-
the other thing I say,
To,
we've already
have
had
community
pilots,
conversation.
they like to say,
And
well,
what
maybe
are the
we just tried it for
competencies
one
that
year.
they
We'll only try it,
Is that
in,
As kind of a first
okay,
year.
and then maybe we'll think, so we already did a pilot. And what we saw was much higher participation.
It's really
Not everyone, it's actually still gonna be kids that choose to opt
regular
in
to meet with like a
school,
goal.
that's fine. What we want is access,
But it's just
everyone has
building
access.
awareness.
But with these, when you have personalizations, you get more reimbursements and
What are they seeing? Yeah.
So,
How does it show up every
in
day?
Providence,
So
we
we
have
as
an
adults
important,
can
how we do
understand.
more local, we do more training, buy better equipment.
And then the students.
And that's what we want to say,
They
we
came
want to
up with
invest
this
in
really
our
cool,
students.
was like needing to know like what we're supposed to work towards. And like how it's supposed to be modeled for us.
Their budgets are even.
Yeah.
Our budgets get people to know how to get there, even though it's in reimbursement.
Right.
It's just a volunteer.
So then another layer of that awareness campaign.
So we created, and we created the JET, we created social emotional learning.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, we could keep that going for the next semester or
People don't
We've
believe
been
it,
going like
the
this,
wealthier
and
districts
labor,
have
and
was very nice.
middle school, high school.
Yeah.
It's always
Kind of center.
So these were the pictures right from our community.
One thing that when we were meeting before this, we were talking about is like,
We would have
we're gonna talk about our like
25,000
recommendations,
for
but
the
this-
First time, so.
tell me if I'm wrong, but this really
Oh, so we would be
And
doing
now
that.
they,
They,
give us
they,
some
the
feedback on
community is
that,
not.
and maybe not today.
So
Yeah, we wanted to get real pictures. So the
What would
elementary and secondary were stock photos.
districts
And we showed this at the committee meeting. It was a really cool reaction.
We all really
It's like,
excited.
oh, like recognize somebody in that, like they're from.
It doesn't actually-
So
because-
it's delaying it, but I think it'll be worth it
Yeah,
because we want to get.
because I think there's some realities about how things work and what's
they can
possible.
implement it.
So
That I think sometimes.
this is the idea. So it's
It's
very engaging, very nice. It's been a
Everything like
Yeah.
beautiful. Growing.
So they all combine and they have no idea.
It's like, oh, like, there's only
Where are
1
you
hour
going
for the whole year, you know, stuff like that, so.
So I think that was
the
the conversation we're having and it's
Still talk about
constructive. I'm realizing that like everybody probably doesn't.
To me, we spent a lot of
Yeah,
time.
some people are not.
And I'm working towards getting like some of the photos and also translating it into language.
You also don't
We
want
extended
this
it
program
to
to be
Like, we use it as a-
including like Arabic.
in some communities that they're so the kids, even our elementary,
This is
Some
like-
really like Guatemala.
really sense that, oh, all the kids, you know, and these families can afford to send them, they're sending them, they're moving out.
Do you want to talk about how you
Our,
got?
in this country, I really think we want to have
From the
it
elementary
served.
part,
We
people to English.
Right?
So I kind of went over to their station and I kind of like asked them because some of the data that they had, they wouldn't share the exact documents that they just shared the
Haven't
numbers.
done that, because of the antiquated way that.
Oh, on random is
We don't have a place right now.
We did, yep, so we're just waiting on the photos. For elementary and seniors, share. Just trying to see if like self.
Committee as well as Senate committee.
And then I think where.
The problem last year was the T bills, and in order to be passed as law, you have to have a line to it. So it was confusing. This year, we have those sponsors working together, we do have a singular bill, like each chamber. Yes, and I think it will be, like I said, the finance committee will decide on the finance, and at that point, when I did, it's gonna pass. I think, the governor said it last year, he didn't, I know, I like it. So
Yeah,
right
if there's
there,
any- I don't
you
think
have
we
the
should
legislators
just
saying,
do-
no, the Senate has said,
So I'm not.
The vision and then we share the PowerPoint, put together.
So something that I
This
can look into with a
narrative as far as like how social community.
Just to try to find out.
I think,
So I will.
saying, no, everyone, no one will say, oh, I don't think so. Everyone says, great, great, because so they're looking at ways of,
The post.
skirting around,
Yeah.
like, yeah, we'll only pay in districts that are CP.
So there's
Not
two
pay,
different
you know,
versions.
we'll
so
pay for
that's what
the
it
full
is.
price kit. It's not solving the whole issue.
I think
It's
that's
so
what it looked like.
inequitable. You know, like I said, I don't, so if you did that, why really is an ED kit in Providence
But it's each,
or
it's just basic, like here's like this.
more valuable than one in
Competencies.
Charahoe or Tiverton, you know? It's not right, in this tiny state. And the other, do you know, it's
So the
hard.
posters on our website.
You know, in all senses of the
Now,
word, political, like,
the district is in
uh,
some, so if you could possibly imagine some schools, kids eat for free, and in some schools they don't.
So the five
you have a neighbor
competencies,
who
so
lives two
Brad
streets
got
over,
them,
and parents are going, what?
in my.
You don't pay,
And
but
then
we
the
pay,
posters
it's just,
with these
So, like,
definitions
body,
and
so, like,
visuals.
yeah,
And
so it's
more
like
kids
the
now.
Providence. In that
Yeah.
area, going on in the school, and
That's
that's just
right.
one school.
And so
but
the other
when we did
young
the survey
voices
of
using
Yes.
these to spread the awareness, but then
4
also
years ago,
starting
that
to
was
look at like, how do we define
it's not
this?
right, it's just not right, and here you're trying to build community, and you're trying to, it's just.
you know, other teachers were saying, we're doing some of these, some of these things sometimes, but we want more resources, more development, so.
That's a good point, yeah. So we can bring examples and maybe we'll have to bring them too.
I can share if you're interested, but the American Heart Association says that it's priorities nationwide, and they, I shared it with them.
Because I'm wondering if the commissioners saying, no,
Just as a
no, I feel.
So you have a letter that you're getting groups to sign
I've
on
reached
to?
out.
right now,
The
sent out,
reached out to our.
the groups that signed last year.
To,
So I can send it, if there's any other ones, I think we have 22, yeah, yeah. And we had on that, all
So
the,
happy
the
for.
Rhode Island
And so,
Association of School Committees, the Rhode Island Rhode Island School
Let me know if there's something.
the Rhode Island Association of School Committee officials, the Rhode Island Association of School Principals.
Yeah, maybe.
Everybody
that
knows.
would be our-
So that's an interesting
Where
thing, I hope they haven't yet. Providence bill, the idea was that we used the same one, actually, the House bill last year. And in it, it addressed some issues
Any other
around,
collaboration
I don't like to say this, but quality.
Because the next phase that we,
You know, quality.
we haven't.
So it does
we
have
need to go
in it
back to
language
strategy and
around
LD,
what
but that we had talked about.
and that it would be up to RIDE, which create goals, et cetera. And the other one, we had some language in it around student and family
And it's like,
engagement
can people really connect
culturally
with that
relevant.
as like that's kind of a mirror of awareness
So
of
in Providence, we
everybody,
just
so.
actually, in our monthly
One
email,
thought was also getting our
Hope High School,
So I think maybe you
that I
could
was
shift
at Johnston, Wales, to take Rice, which
good space for it.
Yeah, so it originally started.
I think I was struggling with so many things happening.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we had a thing with them,
but
and then,
actually,
I don't know if you're getting interested in the main guy.
expand upon the work that's already happening.
And
And
there's
then
this some falling
just
out.
every time we
And so he's got his own thing.
he's jumping to intervention and
Intervention.
like missing like awareness.
So we lost my contact. So we've been getting some insight.
We really never got it out.
The awareness is very nutrition classes are. Maybe we can get the students. that are-
Not trying to not overcomplicate it.
Like,
So
here's-
I'm the right person, right?
So we're starting here, but I'm super excited. I think I'm 13 too. You can hear young voices. This is, yes. But this is the presentation. And then in the agenda, I have the notes from our work. We just met with them recently, so you can kind of see steps and updates of them. But they're updating this PowerPoint and then we have different activities for each of the competencies. And then having one
We're trying to get
charades,
Friday,
what skill people are asking, video.
Hopefully.
So the first part is December 20th. We're going to be doing it just to kind of model and go through and have activities with them, and then
because it's cooking.
That would be
I'm supposed to go get a job at a restaurant on Friday, which is a busy day. So, so that's why I can imagine.
Greg will lead the conversation and using the same PowerPoint and assignments and activities, but we'll just
And that's such a great
bringing
example of what we need to do, and every community is different.
how they're
We have to
impacted
do
by
more.
the world.
Everyone likes to be asked, right? Like,
And
it's
how they
like
can show up in their lives.
taste testing, you know, et cetera.
This
This
is
is,
like,
they have
that
so
is gonna
many
be in January, but
one is
it's
really
not
yet. So they have to serve that, or
The
not a
original
lot of
so we identified the two
different.
project leaders.
You know, it needs to be like, chefs are good at, how do you make that flavor profile, basically that's what we saw, you know?
So an output, this is kind of a
Yeah,
running
yeah,
agenda.
so anyway, it does include, oh, you were asking about the farmers. So
I
because
find
it has
that
that.
easier to have it all in one place than running. I like it.
From Apple Network, strategic planning.
Well, this one is the same.
So, yeah, so in the like this was our meeting, our first meeting, follow meeting with them.
So, you know, kind of looking at it.
Well, some of those farmers, I suspect, in more rural communities.
These are the tasks they worked on today, and
I'm just looking at tests because, sorry,
this was our first.
we're not 100% sure, but we think that that was integrated from the source manufacturing site of last year.
Yeah, distributors and.
Yeah, and then unfortunately,
Yeah.
COVID in the summer, so. And I felt bad because I realized I don't even think I put a message, but I was like, but this is kind of our notes for, this was supposed to be December 20th, we had to push it back a month. So the youth led,
Gender identity
conversations will be December 20th.
Now outgrown that name. It started as just then they've expanded.
And then our next
Up to
one, yeah. But it is.
But one last thing.
The other goal
Try to
was,
do this.
we looked at the policy, which does not really have a lot
do. So,
information as far as like how we
Yeah.
social emotional learning.
I was
And so
No, I was asking you last year.
starting to think about maybe
Summer.
there's some
I
group
did see
So,
you guys
look over
looking at
that,
that.
and then if there's anything that's bring up with the next one, which is.
You said that that's not.
On the agenda, we'll talk about it.
But before we didn't know that was details.
Do you want me to do the well set?
You kind of
That's the
look
well
at
set.
that.
So it's a, assessment tool, which
in terms of
But at least
broad,
that's a broad.
And it will just give you a scorecard.
So,
Yeah.
people are not here.
Yeah, I mean, I can do that. Yeah, I have like that.
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I think that accepts, it's just creating like actual goal statements.
Whatever group that's
There's
doing this.
the overall goal
Yeah,
statement,
so
what's going on here, right, where we're going, kind of go back to what are we? So I do think working it now.
It's good. The 8th of January. So,
But
at least I have
tell
the
them-
documentation saying.
If you tell them that you're doing everything, because that's what we
Yeah.
work with Jessica to provide technical assistance.
I know, I need somebody to write it for me.
I never write because I have 5-year-olds. But you have, really, it's amazing. So the goal is to get this information out through a series of events. You're gonna do the platform, the one that you're open, and did you do that? The flyer?
No, somebody did.
Oh, it's beautiful.
No, but she coordinated it.
Really beautiful.
And
Flyer.
is paying for it.
Yeah.
So you did.
That
So
flyer.
the answer is yes.
Love that. So you've got the beautiful flyer, so you have a physical thing that you're gonna hand out to the community, to schools, and to there's three schools, the two different schools, secondary and elementary. So there's the physical piece and the presentation.
And then I have two. The mental health fair that the students are trying to, that might be for sure.
Yes, yeah.
That's not until next year, right?
Well, May, which is right around the corner, and we,
We can provide flyers.
That would be a great place for the flyer.
and then I think just expanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just getting there. As far as like physical and stuff like that actually look good.
So there's another project, social media prevention teams are going to a day-long training to do
Thank you so much, everybody, for. Okay, so we had the subcommittee breakout. So we're gonna move on the next 10 minutes for the subcommittee to share out. So if you want to start with.
Yes, thank you, Jim. And we just had another little huddle with our nutritional and physical activity working group. Continued on with the discussion of the free meals initiative and working with that with each other on some type of resolution, going out to the governors and maybe going out to the Speaker of the House collectively as well. And also talking about some upcoming webinars that I've elected to join mid-December, which I'll be sending to the group. It's called The Policy for the People, Food Advocacy 101. It's a webinar series that, like I said, I will share with my working group and hopefully get one or two other individuals to partake that with me. And, just looking at other initiatives that we're talking about in the group with the physical activity and looking at some other upcoming recreational activities for the students to get involved with.
Thank you so much. And then next we have
Aaliyah or Tanya.
Lilia's right there.
So the Healthy Relationships Committee has a presentation today. We were also very excited to find out that some of the recommendations that were made last year have been updated in the health curriculum. And we will be focused more so on things that we want to do to be effective and efficient moving forward, and what that looks like in support in the district.
Oh, sure. We last year we put together an abstract for a scientific meeting that I attend every year, and some folks from the district were on that. So Sandy and some others, myself, Tess, and Tanya, and others in our working group, and that got accepted recently. So we'll be presenting that in March in San Diego. And yeah, it's basically like a little bit about just the process of doing some surveys of health teachers, figuring out what the resources were needed around sexual and reproductive health, you know, at the school level and at the health teacher level, and then just kind of our process of like figuring out how we were gonna create our resource guide, which we'll talk about in a second. And so, yeah, so I just wanted to share that as like another accomplishment / to do on our list for this coming year.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. And we have the next we have. Oh, so sorry, guys.
I won't be sad. I'll manage my emotions. Yeah, so we some exciting stuff happening. We have a few things really moving backwards a little bit of coming back to awareness. So we talked about we sometimes jump to intervention and forget to come back to like let's build awareness, collective understanding, and shared understanding and responsibility. So doing a social emotional competency campaign around a couple parts to it. One, working with the Healthy Communities Office and a media company. We have some flyers that have been made, our brochures. One is a community one. We have an elementary and a secondary with pictures of our community actually engaging in social emotional competencies and skills, relationship building, and then it has the 5 competencies that we have adopted: self-awareness, self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making, which really are the building blocks of learning of health as well as of mental health. So just really building the awareness of those skills and how they show up for the adults every day as well as the students. And then Young Voices is a partner in our work. A young person is actually going to co-chair with me. She'll come next meeting from Young Voices, which is exciting. And we, December 20th, will have a community conversation with youth around building the awareness. What are the competencies? How do they show up? Different activities. And then in January, we'll have a community conversation that the youth will lead on building awareness of those skills. So everybody will be invited to that piece. And then how does that show up in our wellness policy? So we can develop some recommendations for our future policy work, because right now it doesn't necessarily touch upon that explicitly.
Thank you so much. I would love to count on December 20th so we can send that information to everybody. And yeah, so we have the next we have a presentation on sexual and reproductive health education recommendations and
Cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna come up and there's a whole bunch of us presenting, so third person just stand over here and check them. You can see me in the slides. Did everybody get the handouts? There should be 2. There's one that's the slides that we're going to present, and then there's one that's basically like a summary of the slides in like a Word document. That's awesome. So again, my name is Jack, and I've been privileged to work on this group for I think this is my 4th year, maybe 3rd year. Who's counting? But this was really work and a summary of a lot of work, but particularly the work we did last year. So just wanted to highlight the people, not everybody who's here, who's on the working group. So the people who are here, about Lisa Hoopes, who works at Sojourner House, has been on our committee for a long time and did a lot of work with us. Gina Silva, who works at the district, was our co-chair last year, an amazing co-chair. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some other people who are not here too. But so I just wanted to also highlight that we, the reason we're doing this together is because this is really a collaborative effort. So what we're going to do is like have different people talk about different sections, and then we have a little time at the end for questions. So do jot them down. Let us know if you have questions, and then there's contact information on here, but you can reach out to me, and I can share that at the end too. So I think I'll pass to Karen if you don't mind starting, and she's going to give us a little bit of background on why this issue is important and sort of some of the information about what the laws and regulations are in Rhode Island around sexual and reproductive health. So take it away.
Okay, thanks, Jack. Is it okay if I just stand over here, everyone? Okay. So just a little background. As I said, I'm with the Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition. We work very closely with the Department of Education as well as the Department of Health, and have been supporting districts throughout the state in some of their areas around health education, and specifically human sexuality as a part of that, and then as well as access to services. And there's not a lot of, you do have the smart clinics here. Most districts that don't have a school-based health center, it's the school nurses, but definitely students are looking for educators and school nurses in addition to their health classes to get really the information that they need and they deserve. So just to review here that comprehensive sexual health education teaches, and these are just some of the topics that are included: human growth and development, healthy and respectful relationships, gender identity, sexual orientation, dating violence, consent, communication skills, reproduction and pregnancy prevention, sexually transmitted infections, and then, as I said, information on how to access services. And I would say that these are K to 12. A lot of people think, oh gosh, what grade? Maybe 10th grade? When do you just say sex and start teaching it? And that's not the best way, right, to teach anyone about it. It starts when they're very young, but it's age appropriate, developmentally appropriate. So I always use consent as an example. Consent isn't just about intimate relationships. It begins when children are very young, and how do they want to be greeted by someone? Are they uncomfortable when someone comes up and hugs them or asks them to sit on their lap or whatever? It's about their own body autonomy. So we're teaching that from a very young age, and then just cycling through until eventually where they're beginning to consider and have more personal and maybe even intimate relationships. So the values that it teaches, and I'd even say these are even social emotional skills, right? Respect, inclusion, non-discrimination, equality, empathy, responsibility, reciprocity. These are all part of when you're talking about sexual health education, that you begin to talk about some of those concepts too. And again, age-appropriate developmental basic. Oh, you have that. I'm wondering who is this? Is Jack? Okay, next slide. Okay, so comprehensive sexual and reproductive health education is mandated by Rhode Island law. So it's not a question of if it's a public school, do we want to teach it, and even about what do we want to teach. Really, it is required. And we do have guidance in both. There is a health education framework, which Rosemary right here had led the work with that. As an organization, we've worked with her with an advisory group of stakeholders throughout the state and a national consultant to update that framework. And so we do have that new framework 2020, was that it, Rosemary? Time flies, maybe it was, no,
I think it's 2022.
2022, okay. And then as well, we have a document, the Comprehensive Health Instructional Outcomes, which really identifies for districts what topics, what do students need to know at what grades. And then we do have some specific requirements that the General Assembly passed in law, that are part of law, and that have to do with family life and sexuality, HIV/AIDS, and teen dating violence. And these are outlined in the Rhode Island Rules and Regulations for school health programs. Now, we created this actually, this graphic is from our website, and this all can get confusing, right? So you're hearing and you're like, what? It's in this document and in that document, and probably Rosemary's one of the few people that's got it all straight in her head. But for most of us, it can get a little confusing. So we did put together a summary document to lay that out. And our website is rihsc.org. And if you were to look in the main menu under topics, there's a drop-down menu, and you'll see that adolescent sexual health is part of it. And there's lots of information that's there. And this is on it, including that summary. We do have Rhode Island schools are required. Sex education in Rhode Island is a part of a comprehensive school health program, which means it's not a standalone topic, but it's integrated with those instructional outcomes. And it is a skills-based curriculum. So there are national standards. Rhode Island has adopted them. And that students are really not just expected to memorize. Maybe some of us, when we were in school, you sort of memorized information. You don't really need to do that. What we do need are skills. And those could be used across things around disease prevention or substance abuse, that you'd also use a skill set when thinking about human sexuality. Okay, next slide. So as we said, it is a key component of student health, normal, healthy adolescent development. So that's something, again, we think often it's sometimes the adults who are uncomfortable talking about it, but it's actually a very normal and healthy part of adolescent development. Schools are really integral in educating young people about the aspects of human sexuality and relationships. And I will say that there is an opt-out that the legislation, the General Assembly passed a law, and yet the parents can opt their children out if they don't want to. It doesn't happen very frequently. So sometimes what we've learned is that mostly parents are very happy that the schools have a part, and they may want to see the curriculum and understand what's being taught, but they actually are very happy to have that partnership and other adults who are actually teaching their children. Schools also are a perfect location for providing resources and services and referrals. Again, whether you have a school-based health center or your school nurse teacher on site, those are valuable resources in a school. Preventing unintended pregnancy, sexually transmitted infections, and relationship violence are important for long-term health and are key public health goals in Rhode Island in the U.S. And so that's why we work closely with the Rhode Island Department of Health, because we really want to do education and, again, have access to treatment if needed, both for unintended, teen pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections, and definitely relationship violence. And then also, good health, including a part of that is sexual and reproductive health, does have a positive effect on academic performance. We know, attendance right now, right? There's so much attention on attendance, that's critical, but we need students to be healthy in order to come to school and then be able to do well academically. And then next slide. So this was just, we had gone through the current Providence Public Schools health and wellness policy, which I know is going to be reviewed and updated soon. But just so you know, it actually states all of this right in your policy. That the curriculum is developmentally appropriate, as I said, that it's inclusive of gender identities and sexual orientations, that it aligns with the national sexuality standards and RIE health education framework, and that it fulfills all Rhode Island state laws. And that it also says that all students shall have access to resources and information, access to care and services, whether that's on-site or for referrals or knowledge off-site, access to counseling and organizations to prompt violence-free dating, delayed sexual activity, prevention of STIs, and prevention of unintended pregnancies. So again, really looking at the school setting as a way really to promote healthy and successful students who will become contributing adults in our community. So that's what's in the policy. And then I think next slide, it goes back to you, Jack, or, oh, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Tess. I'm going to be talking about a resource list that we put together. Next slide, please. And so our working group, based on feedback from the survey we did of teachers, found that one of the discrepancies or deficits was that teachers felt there weren't very many resources to go along with the curriculum, or there was a lack of professional development. So our team put together this document, which you can scan to see. And it's basically a spreadsheet that pulls out sections of the curriculum. And so it'll say, you know, chapter in grade 9, unit 1 of 3, page whatever. These resources go along with the themes that are talked about in that section of the curriculum. And so there's videos, there's lessons plans, there's professional development directed towards teachers, there's resources that can be shared with the students. And so this is something that we think will be a good adjunct to the curriculum, and it sounds like parts of it has actually already been integrated into the revisions that have happened so far.
Now Tanya is going to talk about our recommendations.
So the recommendations that our work group made was to create a task force. We thought that, you know, it was great starting with us, but we thought there were some people that weren't represented at the table, such as teachers, more youth than that. So we talked about either disbanding our work group or creating a different one or adding to it. Increased transparency and communication. That is for caregivers as well as for educators. Develop implementation plan. So as we said earlier, we have some of the resources are being used, but we're just talking about a bigger plan and kind of sharing the information so that the educators will know how to use it and when to use it. Sharing the vetted resources, review and update curricular materials, and professional development. Professional development is something that we really feel very strongly about. If we could get to the educators, professional development, working with their, you know, union contract and all that, and they already have scheduled professional development days. So it's a bit of a challenge to add this on, but we'd love to offer that to answer some of the questions and concerns that they have about teaching these subjects to the youth. We also would like to have considered stipends so that we have more student and caregiver engagement and involvement in the task force, and use an application process just so that it's, you know, it's consistent across the board. People will know what's expected of them by using the application process. Create a process to respond to caregiver inquiries. We talked a lot about, I don't know if you all know, but there's this big binder, and it's supposed to be available to caregivers should they have questions. And so that was something really important to us. How can we make sure that caregivers could get this information as soon as they ask for it? Review the staffing, scheduling, and instructional time at all schools. That goes back to PD. Consider wellness electives for high school students and integrate with SEF. I think that's.
Yeah, so if there are any questions, happy to try to field some of those. I know we're always close to the end, but happy to take any questions that people have.
I just want to make like a comment. I think that we can add it, was it under the health evaluation group? That can be one of the project, or maybe the subcommittee can create the new task force. And the other question I have, I know you you mentioned something about parents' involvement. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Regarding even us building this new curriculum, are we gonna have like any parents' involvement? Because I'm saying this because we see this a lot on the media, on the news. We have very people from various faith. So I'm just wanna make sure like if parents don't learn that the parent is in charge is taking this curriculum, what happens next? What do we like? How do you talk about this?
I think that's what Karen was speaking about. They can opt out. So when do they get notified about that if they didn't want their youth to?
I'm not sure in the district, but they do send something out usually before they're doing certain sections. And I think it's around the HIV/AIDS and I'm not sure, we have to ask when they do it here, but I'd say before
It's
then.
typically just before it's going to be, so wherever it's going to be introduced in the curriculum or over the school year, there'd be the opt-out notice.
But I think to Jack's point, I really think it's important that they have an opportunity to ask questions and discuss it. I've seen it other places too, where the parent may say, I'm not sure about this. What are you teaching, my kid? And when they talk to the health educator or they talk to the principal and they understand or they can look at the materials, they might then feel more comfortable. So I think it's really critical that there isn't a way now. And, what is that process if a parent wanted to have information? And then I even know too that I thought it was terrific. Jack did a terrific presentation as part of Parent University. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
It was like a long time ago.
Okay,
Like
was it
maybe 3
not?
years ago.
These years, fly by. But I thought that was great too. And just sort of reminding everyone, well, some adults are just uncomfortable, but it is something I think in hearing from a physician who works with youth and can just say, it's okay. We all know that children are going to go through, adolescence and then into adulthood. And just having information, right? It's just information. So I think maybe looking at that again, maybe if it's not Dr. Russley, it's someone else, but what can we do to have more parent engagement around it? So I think that's something maybe that the work group can look at as well.
We do, I can do a little bit to that. So Day One does do presentations for the Parent University, and we do a mix of both. We do a mix of presentations that were designed for parents to kind of even maybe like the educational gap that there might be in knowledge, but then we also will present to them the very presentations that we give to the students. So we prompt them the same way that we prompt the students. We put them in the small groups we put the students in. Also, they get that experience and are able to ask questions, but also so that when their youth has questions, that they feel comfortable then answering and responding to those conversations.
The Parent University, is that the same as the PAC group?
The family.
PAC is it's like an advisory body to the district that's made of parents and caregivers. Parent University is like the base office, the family and engagement and community engagement office puts on webinars basically.
Twice a
where
year.
people are present about various topics.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's
Oh,
once a
that's
month
great.
or something.
Would we want to get on the PAC agenda?
That's something we've thought about. Yeah, we haven't really interfaced with them.
Yeah.
I haven't personally interfaced with them. I know
Because
people in the
it's a
PAC,
pretty
but-
big group. I know when we were trying to get parents involved in what we're doing for food service, that us getting on the PAC agenda and we were able to reach more parents in that meeting than we've done in any other thing that we've tried to do.
Yeah.
So that might be a place too, because those people tend to then, spread, take that information and spread it out as a tree. They're kind of other people rely on them for information because they go to these meetings.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea. I will say though, I think there's also a role at the school level for communication between the school, whether it's the building leader or the health teacher, to send a letter home saying, hey, we're going to talk about some of these things. And also here's some resources for, to your point, if you are coming from a faith community where there's a lot of feelings about sexuality, here's some resources for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you are really scared to talk about these things with the kids, here's some resources for you. Because I think there's an opportunity that we're missing maybe across the district to sort of empower parents to have conversations coming from their own values and their own traditions. That like we're not trying to replace, I don't think, as a district. I don't think we should, but I think there's also like, you know, right now my perception as a parent is just like there's just a lot of silence. And so in that gap is like a missed opportunity. So, and my kids are in elementary school, so we talked in our group about like there's been a lot of focus on the high schools, but I think to Karan's point, like, you know, even at the elementary school level, we're seeing, and our colleague from day one was sharing, like they're seeing a lot of young people who are victims of dating violence, you know, in like 5th and 6th grade, you know, like that's, so I think if we're waiting till 9th grade to start talking about this, to empower parents to talk about it at home, like that's too late. So yeah, that's just a couple. That's what
Thank you so much. Maybe we can work with Jill. I'd love to set up a meeting with you guys. Maybe we talk about how we can go forward from this, especially about also regarding this new task force. I see two hands.
I defer to him.
I was just gonna say, same thing for mental health, right? I think it's like a very similar conversation. Everything you said resonated, and we've had conversations. So any way that we could utilize this space for like integrated health conversations and not kind of silo some things, I think would be awesome, and I'd love to integrate into that. Like for example, a fair, like the mental health fair could really be an integrated health fair, and there could be a booth with those things for parents, because I think that could generate a lot. And so let's like actually call out the different areas of health, and kids are thinking about all of these things, and so, and then just culturally, like you said, like it's a different approach, and we have to be like aware and sensitive to that, and empower. I love that word. So I think just encouraging this group to think of like integrated health in a sense, having those conversations.
Thank you so much.
And I was thinking about another district that I was aware of that came at engaging parents through child and adolescent development, sessions, so learning sessions, and by learning about kind of the developmental stages and what youth need at each developmental stage really helps to underscore the critical role of schools and people in schools and other caring adults and people who are also interacting with your child, some that you choose, like, coach or a particular team or whatever, and other people that you don't, they happen to be there, but that value of having other trusted people give those messages to your child about healthy behaviors that you also want to reinforce is really, really powerful.
I just wanted to share in the Healthy Communities Office, Obed and I both have the opportunity to offer a course called Family Matters. And I specifically, my grant specifically was asked to offer the curriculum to the Refugee Dream Center. And initially, when we went to offer it, we had a challenge with the clash of culture. And so we had to make some adaptations, which we made, and our epidemiologists actually sent it, and they're going to do a presentation in March. So it worked, right? Because initially it was like, we don't even talk about those things. Our children don't do those things. But we just had to change the way we presented it and give them some information and use trusted adults that, they trusted to give them information.
I used to work at a dream center, and you guys did an amazing job. Thank you. I'm second you.
No, I think it's a wonderful initiative and education endeavor. In regards to the summary page, second row down for the curriculum, it states to be inclusive of all gender identities, sexual orientations throughout. And the word throughout is an asterisk. Is that because it's throughout the core of the services, throughout the the grade levels. Could you help me understand why that's an asterisk, please?
Sure, yeah. I put that in quotes because that is just a direct quote from the policy, the PPSD policy. So maybe I'm not the best person to answer that in terms of why they put that in there, but my interpretation was that, it's not something that we should be waiting until senior year of high school to talk about gender identity and sexual orientation. So yeah, that's my 2 cents, but other folks in the district might have other thoughts about that.
Thank you. Well, and actually, if I could just add in there, Karen mentioned, and all of this just makes my heart so happy, but the instructional outcomes, the Rhode Island Comprehensive Health Instructional Outcomes, which is an older document, but it shows each of the main areas, including family life and sexuality, and what might be some topics, K3, 4, 5, however it's broken up. And so even things like gender identity and, family and, what do families look like? What are gender roles? What are our norms around gender are topics that are taught in elementary schools. I remember learning about that way back when. So those are, to your point about like what do those developmentally appropriate topics look like for younger children? That's one example. But to take a look at that, it's on the RIDE website, and you can link to it too through the Healthy Schools Coalition, but to give you an idea of that as well.
Thank you. And then I can't remember, I was involved when this was written, which we were just saying it needs to be reviewed now. So why was that in quotations? That is kind of interesting. But I'm also wondering if it was throughout, meaning it's, well, I don't know. I was going to say throughout, maybe not just throughout, but throughout even the school. Like these are things that it's not just in health class, should there be inclusiveness of all genders and sexual orientations, and throughout the school.
Yeah, the reason it's in quotes is because I put it in quotes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like if you look at the actual policy,
But it says
the word
throughout.
Throughout, yeah. I was trying to highlight that because I think that's important. I think sometimes there's an assumption that, like we should not be talking about those topics until later.
Yeah.
But that's not actually what the policy says. It says it should be part of the curriculum throughout.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions? The next line item is to adjourn the meeting.
I have one question.
Is there a motion?
Is it now that I can request things to get on the agenda, or do I just send an email and then get this stuff on?
Yeah, so we can, yes.
So you send me an email, so I have it I have it for our next person.
Okay.
Our next meeting.
And then normally, because I looked up what we did previously for Sodexo reporting out. So we broke it up into like 4 quarters. So the first one is September to November. So I would think in January 1, we would be on it to report out what we've done in September to November. Because the one that we did at the beginning that was the full year. So that was like the 4th quarter, which encompasses the full year. So we have that. So.
Excuse me, Erin, could I ask you know, when we were in our work group, nutrition and physical activity, we had talked about now we have this wonderful shared Google folder and subfolders with all the different committees. And one of the things that were in it were some of those presentations, because Kelly would give them, and oftentimes, we were here, but we didn't have access to the digital presentation to kind of look back on. Is there a way to, so not all of them are there. I thought it would just be nice to have.
I was trying to get them from Kelly, and
Yeah.
Kelly would, I think there's an issue with when it was saved and who has it. And
Okay.
I don't know if we can get them
Okay.
from us, but I tried to put up the last 2 from last year, and then we should have the one that we just did in September that we could put on there.
I can put that.
They're always in ESB.
Yeah. And then when I do this one, I'll,
Then,
you know, I'll
yeah.
send it out.
Yeah, so this last one, like I saved it in the presentation folder, so I can try to transfer.
Yeah.
But you can just let them know anytime they wanna check out anything that's from a meeting previous, they can go into ESB, which is the Providence School Department.
Oh,
School Board
the school
thing.
board?
Yes.
So presentations that were in a meeting had to be loaded
Yes.
onto.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
there you have it.
How early do you need the presentation, just so I can understand?
We need it at least, was like
A week before.
A week
So
before.
five working days.
It's kind of
Or
the
more.
Wednesday before, so it's
6 working days.
seven days, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, just so I can put it on my.
And is there open comment? And can I mention something here now, or does it have to be on the agenda? Yes? Okay. I'm just wondering if anyone here might be able to help. I had mentioned it in our work group. Not everyone may know, but there's a statewide initiative, Recess Rocks in Rhode Island, that works with elementary schools to train the adults to set up a safe and inclusive recess and playground so that kids can have active and healthy play. And I'm forgetting exactly how many, not every single one of the Providence elementary schools have gone through the training. There are still some that have not. And I know we've been working the past few years to try to set that up, but it's a challenge with PD time, et cetera. But one of the new programs that we have is something called a reboot, where instead of asking the team from the school to go to the training, we take one of our coaches and embed them right in the school for a whole week to observe what's happening, to help teachers with strategies, group management, setting it up. And I worked through Sandy and Donna to identify school, which is Reservoir. And the principal at Reservoir is very much on board. And there's a contract that needs to be signed, but it's stuck. And so I'm just wondering if anyone, so it's with the partnerships office right now, with JL Lopes. And I don't know if there's something, I just want to know if there's something that I can do to answer a question, but it's just taken quite some time and hasn't moved from there. So if anyone, okay, yeah.
I can follow up.
Okay, terrific, thank you.
They might be trying to check if they went through the RFQ process last year, I would think. Because if it's over a certain amount, you would have to go through the RFP. But if you already went through that.
So, okay, we'll talk after, yeah, okay. It's not, there's no fee.
Oh, there's no fee.
No fee.
Oh.
So it's really, the only reason why the contract is just.
They take a while, the
Yeah,
MOUs.
so it could be, so I can.
Okay,
you can
okay.
email me.
I just want to know, is there something to help it move along? If there's any question and they need something to provide that. Okay, thank you.
Which we can quickly Oh, yeah. The next line item is to adjourn the meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second meeting.
I have a question. Is next meeting December 6th, is that scheduled or is just?
We
No, it's January.
January
4th.
Oh, okay, because it says next policy.
I think that's the policy committee.
Oh, that's a policy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's policy.
No, that's policy.
Have we sent out? Have
Yeah.
we sent out calendar invites for January?
Not yet.
I do not yet. But it's January 26th?
Yeah.
The last down somewhere. January 26th. January 26th is a Friday.
Wednesday.
January 26th.
About 24.
So that's when it's gonna be?
Yeah.
At what time?
I think for